The billionaire investor was already halfway to the exit. A billion-dollar hotel deal was collapsing in broad daylight. Lawyers stood frozen. Executives exchanged nervous glances. Years of planning were about to disappear in a matter of minutes. No one dared stop the furious investor as he headed toward the glass doors. And then, from the corner of the room, a janitor quietly put down his mop. What happened next would change dozens of lives forever. Before we begin, if you believe kindness, humility, and second chances can change the world, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs inspiration today, and subscribe to Lifeline Tales for more unforgettable stories. The morning sun poured through the massive windows of the Grand Meridian Hotel in downtown Seattle. The luxury property stood as the centerpiece of an ambitious billion-dollar expansion project that promised to transform the city's waterfront. Investors from around the world had gathered for the final signing ceremony. Among them was Wei Jian, a respected Chinese investor whose company planned to fund nearly half of the development. Known for his sharp business instincts and strict standards, Wei had spent months reviewing every detail of the project. His signature alone would unlock funding that would create thousands of jobs and secure the future of the hotel. Everything appeared perfect. At least on the surface. Standing quietly in the lobby was a 62-year-old janitor named Marcus Holloway. Every morning before sunrise, Marcus polished floors, emptied trash bins, and greeted guests with a warm smile. Most executives barely noticed him. To them, he was simply part of the background. But Marcus carried something many people didn't know. Years earlier, before personal tragedy turned his life upside down, he had been a respected civil engineer. A devastating accident had taken his wife, drained his savings, and forced him to leave his profession. Unable to rebuild the career he once loved, he took whatever work he could find to support his young daughter. For nearly 20 years, he had quietly worked as a janitor. That morning, while cleaning near the conference room, Marcus overheard fragments of conversations. Tension filled the air. Voices grew louder. Then suddenly, chairs scraped against the floor. Wei Jian emerged from the room looking furious. Something had gone terribly wrong. The investor had discovered discrepancies in construction reports. Several projected costs didn't match actual site conditions. To him, it looked like someone had either hidden critical information or failed to perform proper inspections. Trust vanished instantly. In international business, trust is everything. Without it, billion-dollar deals die. As executives scrambled to explain themselves, Wei ignored every attempt to stop him. His assistants gathered documents while legal teams watched helplessly. The project was collapsing before everyone's eyes. Marcus continued sweeping, observing quietly. Then he noticed something. On a nearby table sat several engineering blueprints that had been left open during the heated meeting. One glance was enough. His heart sank. The problem wasn't fraud. It was a misunderstanding caused by a translation error involving older infrastructure reports buried beneath updated development plans. The mistake looked enormous, but Marcus understood exactly what had happened. For several moments, he wrestled with himself. Who would listen to a janitor? These were powerful executives handling billion-dollar decisions. Speaking up could embarrass him. It could even cost him his job. Yet he couldn't stand by and watch thousands of workers lose opportunities because nobody recognized the real issue. Gathering his courage, Marcus approached the departing investor. Security immediately became alert. Executives looked horrified. But before anyone could stop him, Marcus respectfully introduced himself and asked for 30 seconds. Only 30 seconds. Perhaps it was Marcus's calm demeanor. Perhaps it was desperation. Whatever the reason, Wei paused. Marcus carefully explained the discrepancy. He pointed out that two reports were measuring entirely different structural conditions. One referred to pre-renovation assessments while the other reflected post-reinforcement calculations. Due to translation inconsistencies, the documents appeared contradictory even though both were technically correct. At first, nobody spoke. Then engineers began reviewing the reports. Faces changed. One by one, confusion turned into realization. Marcus was right. The room erupted into frantic analysis. Documents were compared. Calculations were verified. Within minutes, specialists confirmed that the supposed discrepancy wasn't evidence of deception at all. It was simply a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding large enough to destroy a billion-dollar partnership. Wei Jian stared at Marcus with disbelief. How could a janitor understand technical engineering reports better than senior consultants? The answer soon emerged. When Marcus quietly shared his background, the room fell silent once again. The executives who had overlooked him for years suddenly saw him differently. Not because his uniform changed. Not because his position changed. But because they finally recognized the value that had always existed beneath the surface. The investor asked Marcus to join the meeting. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, Marcus sat at a boardroom table instead of cleaning around one. As discussions resumed, he helped clarify several technical concerns. His observations prevented additional misunderstandings and restored confidence among investors. Hours later, the deal was officially signed. Applause filled the room. The billion-dollar project was saved. News of what happened spread quickly throughout the company. Employees who barely knew Marcus suddenly learned his remarkable story. Many were shocked by the sacrifices he had endured and the quiet dignity with which he carried himself every day. But the greatest moment came later that afternoon. Marcus's daughter, Alina, arrived unexpectedly after receiving a phone call from one of the executives. When she entered the conference room, she found dozens of people standing and applauding her father. Tears filled her eyes. For years, she had watched him leave home before sunrise and return exhausted after dark. She had seen his struggles. She had witnessed his disappointments. Yet she had never once heard him complain. Now the world was finally seeing the man she had always known. Several weeks later, the hotel company offered Marcus a new position as a senior project advisor. His experience, knowledge, and wisdom were simply too valuable to ignore. He accepted, but not before making one special request. He asked that the janitorial staff receive better benefits and training opportunities. Even after everything, he remembered the people who worked beside him. The people others often overlooked. That request touched the executives more than any technical expertise ever could. Because true greatness isn't measured by titles. It's measured by character. Before we reach the end of this story, if Marcus's journey touched your heart, please like this video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that every person deserves respect, no matter their job title.